Magandang hapon. Almighty God, Creator of heaven, Father and Lover of our soul, you sit on your throne of mercy and rule with your love and faithfulness. You're full of grace. We acknowledge your presence. In our lives, even our challenges and our struggles in life. Ask for daily spiritual bread to seek your forgiveness and undeserving favor. To heal our land, family members, our friends and neighbors, even our enemies with COVID-19 and other diseases, even our enemies. Holy Spirit, help us live in our faith and see the opportunity to believe, obey, and worship. As we face this pandemic, you are Lord and God. Encourage us and change our hearts, not to fear, but to be full of hope and find ourselves praying and meditating your word. We believe no works of the enemy prosper to your children. Abba, Father, we believe that your Son, Jesus Christ, is Lord and Savior. He is the truth and our salvation. Hear our prayers, O Lord. And most of all, not our will, but your will be done. In Jesus' name, the name above all names. Amen. Who was and is to come. Amen. Magandang hapon, business and SME audience. Welcome to the program that caters to the development of your business life as a partner. From the concept and opportunity that an entrepreneur encounters with, we now prepare you with someone with the same knowledge, radar, mindset on either supplementary or complementary in putting your business on the next level. Only here in Two for the Road, Pivoting Partnerships. And of course, ours will pave the way for your partnership journey in your business and in the industry that you are in. I now would like to call on them. For today, on our maiden show, I would like to call our founding anchor who will be with us, our global business and transformation mentor. Business audience, please welcome Mr. Rolly Pagaspas. Hi, Rolly.
Hello.
There you go.
Hello, yes. So it's
Merry
nice to be
Christmas.
back and Merry Christmas, of course, no? Because Christmas in the Philippines starts October
October.
pa.
October pa. So
Uh,
even with the pandemic happening, no one and nothing can dampen the Filipino spirit of Christmas.
okay.
Ilang araw na
Uh,
lang.
Of course, no, ilang araw na lang. And of course, I would like to greet our audience. Unang-una na, I'd like to greet all our OFW audience from B81 Radio Worldwide from the USA, Europe, Middle East, Asia, and the Oceania. And also, hello to the local family audience of Big Media. Charlie Diaz is watching. And of course, to the niche audiences of Channel 1 TV, Best TV 31, and last but most importantly, now having our tech support coming from the Global Pinas TV 168. A shout out to Zeno Martinez. Okay, maraming salamat. At
Yes.
syempre, alam mo naman ako bumati, Arlene, mahaba eh. At
Yan ang
syempre,
sasabi sa iyo eh.
shout out to my partners, Raleigh and Rosario in the US. Thank you for the meeting kanina. And then Charlie here in the Philippines. And of course to my new partners, our new partner, Sheila of Zelingo. She's watching.
Hi,
Gerald
Sheila.
of Mr. Freeze. June of Calaro, Bobby of PCAAE, JP of Global Linker, and Roman of PCCI with Joms of the Philippine Franchising Community. And I'd like to greet special greeting to Dr. E.G. Agbayani of Manila Doctors, who's now partnering with me because first of all he wants to contribute to my health welfare
Health and
kasi
wellness.
he's the proponent of the intermittent fasting here in the Philippines.
Oh, yeah.
Kailangan ko nang gawin yon, Arlene.
I would give you the floor. Wag mo lang ubusin oras natin because
Okay.
today we have a very exciting discussion. It's a different type of partnership. But before we go on to that, I would also like to call our resident co-anchor who will be with
Mm.
us, our ASEAN tech leader, business audience. Please welcome Mr. Nino Jesus Duque.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, Nino.
Merry Christmas. I can
Merry
Oh
see that
yeah.
you are wearing the color of the season,
Of
Oh yeah.
course.
Of
both color
course.
red. Yeah, let me take this opportunity to greet all the viewers out there from Big Media, Sir Charlie, hello, V81, and all the supporting platforms that are supporting us here in Two for the
Yes.
Road. Magandang tanghali. Thank you again.
Magandang tanghali din sa lahat. We have another co-anchor but I think he's having a difficulty with his internet connectivity, no? So we'll just call him in later when he's already back. So ang topic natin ngayon ay napakaganda. It's a different kind of partnerships because we're gonna tackle on partnerships in advocacies. So beyond cultures, beyond race, beyond borders. Diba?
Yeah.
Parang it's very close to my heart because I am a mom. Si Nino, malapit na yan maging daddy. Si Rolly rin, siguro, in the next few years.
I'm a daddy. Malapit na ako magkaapo. Oo.
So, ayan, mamaya maganda yung pag-uusapan natin. But, I'd like, the topic that we have now is actually about biliary atresia. And I know we have a video, something that would help us go through our discussion today. And Zeno, can we have the video, please? So habang pine-prepare ni Zeno yung ating video, I think baka may bagal din, ano? Ang tanong ko, what do you know about biliary atresia?
Biliary atresia. Well, pag sinabing biliary, it's something about the bile.
Bile?
And yung atresia, I really don't have any notion about it. Pero I think because the bile is a system, kumbaga, from
Yes.
the liver, lalabas siya, and then
Oo.
it has to extract and then
Yung,
flush out something from the liver.
you know what I've read? Those only occurs with babies. And if you're a new mom or a new dad, there's only 2 months from birth that you will be able to make it more lighter to you and the baby. Ayan.
Play na natin yung video.
Is biliary atresia.
So the span is 2 months.
Chronic
No?
Yeah,
disease
the
of the
span is
liver
2 months
and
lang.
bile ducts that become evident shortly after birth. The bile ducts are tubes in the liver that normally allow bile, a liquid produced by the liver cells, to drain into the intestines and kidneys, where it helps digest fats. This network of channels and duct is referred to as the biliary system. When the biliary system is working properly, it allows bile to drain from the liver into the intestines and kidneys. When a baby has biliary atresia, bile ducts in the liver are absent, narrowed, or blocked, and prevents the draining of the bile from the liver. This allows the bile to be trapped inside the liver, where it damages liver cells rapidly, causing scarring or cirrhosis and eventually liver failure. Biliary atresia occurs in 1 out of 10,000 live births and is more prevalent in girls than boys. It is a life-threatening condition and is fatal if left untreated. In addition to causing liver damage, biliary atresia also affects numerous processes that allow the body to function normally. Causes. The exact cause of the condition is not known. Some experts believe that the problem with the bile ducts may occur while the liver was developing during pregnancy. Others believe that autoimmune mechanism may be responsible. The bile ducts may be damaged by the body's immune system in response to a viral infection or toxic substance after birth. What is known for sure is that biliary atresia only affects newborns. It is not contagious. It is not caused by anything the mother did during pregnancy, and it is not hereditary. Symptoms. Symptoms of biliary atresia appear about 2 to 8 weeks after birth and may include dark urine, jaundice, weight loss and irritability, clay-colored stools or alcoholic stools, distended abdomen. Diagnosis and treatment. To get a correct diagnosis, the doctor may need to carry out the following diagnostic procedure. Blood tests to check for liver function abnormalities. Imaging tests such as x-rays to look for enlarged liver and spleen, or an abdominal ultrasound. A liver biopsy.
Okay.
There. So,
Yeah.
as I was saying earlier, as a parent, if you're a new parent, you won't have any idea. This is not something that has been taught to us during pregnancy or even in school. We only have 2 months to catch it so that yung procedure na gagawin sa bata would be lighter. So, ang nangyayari, akala natin naninilaw ang mga bata. It's just jaundice. So, jaundice lang yan, kulang ng araw. Diba normally ganon, ilabas mo yung bata, lumabas. So, after 2 months, that is when the time that the damage has been done. So, kailangan na ngayon ng baby ng liver transplant.
Yeah.
Yun.
Wow.
And you know how much liver transplant cost in the Philippines? Napaka mahal. And also, at a very young age, ma-expose na yung bata. So,
Yeah,
ang
for all the
problema,
anesthesia.
yeah, ang problema natin dito kasi like now we don't have the right equipments yet in the Philippines. We're not fully equipped to do liver transplants for babies. And then yung ating, 'di ba sinabi kanina ang daming process to get. Hindi pa tayo ganun ka fully equipped. That's why the Philippines doesn't have actually the actual statistics of how many kids are affected with biliary atresia or babies. So,
So
yun yung ano
unfortunate.
natin. So, outside, it can be from 1 out of 10,000, but it can go as high as 5 to 38 of every 10,000.
In the Philippines, I think that there's a published rate already. There's a case for every 5,000.
Yes.
So
You know,
we're more prone to have it.
oo. So, ang ano dito, dati nakikita ko lang to doon sa mga kaidaran ko, no? Kapwa ko, mahal ko. Naalala mo yun, Rolly?
Yeah, of course, no.
Nahalata ang age.
the
Nahalata ang
number one Damayan show, and then there's another show called Damayan by Rosa Rosal, and now it's now called
It's
Malasakit
natin.
Center.
Oh,
Mm,
oo. And I would always see children with malaki yung tiyan, may
mm.
jaundice, and baby pa ganun na. And they're candidate for liver transplant. Now, of course, in the Philippines, napakamahal nun. And ang hirap talagang humanap. Mahirap nang humanap ng pera, mahirap ang humanap ng donor. But what we
Oh,
have today is a miracle
Donor.
that happened in the last 2 years where people came together through partnerships in advocacy beyond borders, beyond cultures, beyond race. And this is something that we'd like to share to everyone that hey, there's hope. There's another way to solve this problem. No, ang ganda ng story, and I am so excited that we will be having the partners both from the Philippines and everybody, listen to this, doctors, experts from India, straight from India. We will have them, world-renowned doctors who would help us really understand how things came to pan out, no, for this partnership. So later on, when we return, we will take the main handle of the show. See you right after.
see you. Break.
Zeno,
Sino break na?
break.
I
So
guess
habang hindi pa
everybody's having
nagbe-break, ayaw pa yata tayong pag-breakin. Diba? Ayaw
talagang
pa mag-breakin. So,
talagang ang technical difficulties are hounding everyone.
yes. But,
Minsan pag ganyan yan, pinipindot mo na, ayaw pa.
oo. But, maganda kasi itong handle na to because before, people were really finding difficulty, um, sourcing funds. Like one of the beneficiaries of this program actually had to had to bake banana loaves. She's a nurse, ha? The mom is a nurse.
Oh.
She has to sell banana loaves, diba? Just to
Mm.
try to add income, and get some money, funding.
Oh.
At nag-approach na ng mga artista, no? Just to get, o kung ano pang grupo dyan na pwedeng mag-fund or mag-help to fund.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there's always this God sent angels
Yeah.
to really be the answer to the parents' prayers.
We
And
really have we have a very important message to share out there to all Filipinos na merong ganto. No? There's hope through this partnership, through this synergy. No?
correct. Now, ang maganda, there is a synergy not just within the Filipino brothers and sisters, but we went beyond cultures. We went
Be-
beyond borders.
Beyond borders, yes.
It's a breakthrough. It's a breakthrough. It's a major breakthrough. And is Zeno there? We'd like to pause for a break. And later on, when we come back, we'll have the main partner feature.
Okay.
I hope, yes.
There was some.
And we are back. So before we proceed and bring you the main handle of this show, I'd like to show you the video from our guest. Tech, play video, please. I think we don't have a video again. Medyo may internet connectivity problem yata tayo ngayon.
Quite challenging, no, partner?
Mm. We apologize for all of this, but you know the show is gonna go on. Meron tayo kasing mga na-experience ngayon ng mga lags because all of the telcos are upgrading. No, I don't know if in your place they're upgrading, but in my place they're upgrading. There you go. We're very fortunate, ladies and gentlemen, to be with, to have a guest that is highly respected, the man with a big heart. He is the founding president of the Philippine Chamber of Children's Products Industries from 2015 to present. He was the president of the Federation of the Indian Chambers of Commerce in the Philippines, no? From March 2016 to 2020, and now the chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, the person I highly respect and a dear friend, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rex Darianani.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Madam President. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? It's so nice to have you with us and share the story of your advocacies.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you for giving us this great opportunity to be with you.
For everyone, the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce Philippines, Inc., or FICI, is one of the pioneer ethnic foreign chambers of commerce in the Philippines, engaged in promoting the business and social interests of the Filipino-Indian business community in the Philippines. Since 1951, it has progressed and have become a formal organization. It represents the major business interests of the Filipino-Indian business sector and is held in high esteem for its active involvement in the Philippine private sector. Now, what is good about this is that they have went beyond business and embrace an advocacy that benefits a lot of Filipino people. And I'd like to talk about that, Rex, my dear chairman. Let's talk about it, okay?
Absolutely, ma'am.
But before we dive into FICI and its life-changing projects, tell us something about your business and why you joined the chamber.
You know, goes back a long way. We're in the distribution of products for kids. We do toys, accessories, bags, you name it. We do it when it comes to stuff for children. I was very fortunate to be trusted by our members to take over the leadership of the chamber in 2016. And it's something that I'm very grateful to have been given that opportunity. It has not only made me grow personally, but it has allowed me and our team at the chamber to just share so much of ourselves with different people that whose lives we're able to just slightly contribute to.
I don't think it's slightly. You have made a major contribution. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I've met Chairman Rex Darianani when we were brought together by our presidential advisor Joey Concepcion during the Pilipinas Pilipinas Angat Lahat Alliance, and the several industries and associations were called together to really come as one and help Philippines move forward. So Rex is actually a dear friend. We've became friends during those times when we would sit together and see how we can help the Philippines. But of course, you know, FICI, or the Indian Chambers of Commerce, have done a lot. You know, your advocacy programs, when I'm looking at it, is commendable. You know, from, you know, of course, you first respond. They're the first group to respond every time there's a calamity and there's a call to help, you know, from the typhoons, from the volcano eruptions. You're always there ready to help. I-camps, mentorship, the FICI Sulu Kapatid Village, Marawi Fund Drive, the fishing boat donation. I remember you were talking about the fishing boat when we first met, and I was already in awe. Now to go, wow. And of course, scholarships. And what I really like to dwell on is the long-term solution you were able to solve or create a solution for biliary atresia. No, it goes beyond representations in government and has been truly impactful. Now, yun nga sabi ko, the long-term solution created for biliary atresia patients is really impressive. Now, what we want to hear is, mahirap yun eh, diba? So I actually salute you and the FICI group, the working committee. Hindi po madali yung trabaho na itahi at they have put together for our children, Filipino children, suffering from biliary atresia. So, how did the project on pediatric liver transplant or the biliary atresia came to be?
You know, I remember very clearly, I was in China. It was a dark evening in China. I was on business, and I received a call from our dear friend, Senator Bam Aquino, letting me know that there was a child that needed to get to India for a liver transplant because the
Yeah.
kid had this condition, and they needed help because they had no money to fund their plane ticket to get to India. And remember, whenever there's a biliary atresia case, it's always three. No, it's the child that needs the transplant. It is the donor, who's normally the mother or the father,
Yeah.
and the attendant or the bantay. No, now in this case, let me also just clarify that the donor gives away 20% of his or her liver, that is then transplanted to the child, and they both grow back to normal livers, which is
Mm.
how it makes it different from kidney. And so I immediately responded, not knowing what biliary atresia was. I immediately responded, and we were lucky that our members are really have great hearts, and we raised the 100,000 needed for this family to fly in less than 5 minutes through technology using WhatsApp. And,
Yeah.
and when I came back, along with Senator Bam, we went to visit this child, and I was horrified to see what I saw. I saw a child that was very sick, that was vomiting
Mm.
blood, um, defecating blood, and it was just very, very, very. It's something that I never imagined I would ever see.
Mm.
And after meeting the family and getting them ready to go to India the next day, when I exited the room, there was a line of about 20 families there waiting to meet us, carrying these children, all encountering the same symptoms, distended stomachs, and you could see very, very sick. And that's the only time that we actually researched what this was all about. We took it up at board level, and we agreed that this would become one of the major advocacies of the chamber. Rightfully so, because a lot of the kids were being sent to India. And India, since we are originally Indian, many of us are born and raised in the Philippines, many of us are Filipinos. It only made sense that we would become the conduit,
Yeah.
between both countries, and actually help develop an amazing partnership between the two countries. And so there's been a lot of work that has happened to make this a reality. And we continue to work very closely with the government of the Philippines, with the medical institutions, both in the Philippines and India, with the Indian government. And it has really underscored the great importance, which is what your show is all about today, of partnerships in advocacy. And while I have a lot more to say about that, I think I hope I have successfully answered your first question.
And I have so many questions more. When I heard about this, when you first shared the story with me, I was really amazed how you and the members of FICI acted immediately upon the request of people who came to you and sought help. So, ang ganda talaga ng puso ninyo, regardless of who, of whatever situation, you're always ready to help. Now, I have a question. Of course, you've already said that because of being Indians and Indians, no, sorry, from India and Filipinos at the same time, it's so easy for you to be the conduits. But how did you select partners to collaborate with, especially in India? It's a very big country.
So, there are many hospitals in India that do the liver transplants, and we're partnered with two of them. And one of them is Max Hospital, whose liver team is led by Dr. Subhash Gupta, who is with us this afternoon, and I'm sure you'll hear more from him. But it was a series of steps in determining the right partners, and truly we're very fortunate that the hospital partners that we work with are truly amazing. I must stress, however, that the ultimate goal really was for these transplants to happen in the Philippines,
Mm.
because it is next to traumatic to have to send a very sick child abroad, and especially in another country where the family or the parents may not necessarily be that comfortable. Um,
Mm.
um, Liver transplant is available in the Philippines. Um, However, it is way more expensive. When we started off, it was between 5 to 6 million in the Philippines,
Mm.
whereas in India it could be had for only 1.5 million all in. So there's really a great difference, and that's just because our medical systems work very differently, which we have discovered. That rate has now come down to about 3 million, with the help of certain of our friends in government. And
Nice.
there have been partnerships that they've been drawn locally as well.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, COVID interrupted that.
Yeah.
I've just gotten word that that's back on now, but it's naturally going to take time before we're able to perfect it here. So, still with that, the partnerships with our Indian doctors is critical, because they're clearly more advanced when it comes to this procedure. And what's really very heartwarming is our doctor partners actually want to train us for us to be able to do it in the Philippines. So it's not about marketing and getting more patients to India. It is actually the openness and the willingness to train our medical professionals in the Philippines, with the dream that one day all our liver transplants can be done uh, within the country, and maybe the more critical ones could then be sent to India.
Yeah, that's so nice, no? It's nice to hear that eventually our ultimate goal is really to transfer the expertise of the Indians to the Filipino doctors. Yeah, so that we can do it here. And patients and the families would be surrounded with their friends, because this is something that we need, especially in this time of crisis, when you're just in a matter of life and death, right?
Right.
Now I heard this is something, another commendable action at the height of the pandemic. Fiki was able to send 35 passengers to India when no one was flying out of the Philippines. No one was flying into India. But you made it happen. You guys made it happen. And that would be another story would like to hear from you. Would you like to share us the story?
I've done some crazy, difficult things in my life, but this was probably the most difficult. Um, I was surprised. It was around, I think it was July, if I'm not mistaken, during the pandemic, when I was told that 5 kids had passed away. And they had passed away because they couldn't get their transplants in time. And these kids are, for the lack of a better term, ticking time bombs, because if they don't get their transplant, we will lose them. And we lost 5 during the pandemic because they couldn't get to India. They also didn't have the money to pay for it in the Philippines. Our partnerships that we had tried to set up in the Philippines had not yet been consummated. Government and private sector were too busy worrying about the pandemic. Flights had all been suspended. As it is, we don't have direct flights to India
Yeah.
from the Philippines, and people normally transit through third countries like Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, and all of this was closed. Right, there was no way to get these kids. And so we had to come up and think out of the box, right, on how to do this to get a permit for a chartered flight. When you think about it, should be really simple, but it was one of the most difficult things to do while working with the bureaucracies of 2 countries. It's hard enough when you work with the bureaucracy of 1 country, but when you work with the bureaucracies of 2 countries, it just becomes a Herculean task. We partnered with our new ambassador, who I love to death, who really has gone out of his way to help. Our ambassador in Delhi, Ambassador Bhagat Singh, helped in big ways. We contracted an Indian airline um, to charter, and we also had to go to a Bollywood actor, a guy
Mm.
named Sonu Sood. If you look him up, this man was a Robin Hood in India during the pandemic, where he brought people home, right? And with our partnership with him, his role was to take care of all the approvals for the permits in India, right? And he also worked on bringing back home stranded students from the Philippines. So there's a lot of Indian medical students in the Philippines that needed to get back to India and were stranded. So we chartered that plane, and we brought home Philippine permanent residents that were stuck in India. uh, and allowed them to ride that plane to come back to Manila. The return flight this time carried those 35 people, comprised of 11 patients,
Mhm.
plus their donor, plus their attendant. And we were able to arrange this completely free of charge.
Wow.
So the airlines worked with us, amazing partnership with the airlines as well, when they knew what this was all about, and they were carrying these lives that needed to be saved. The sense of patriotism then kicked in and said, it's okay, we don't need to make money, right?
Wow.
And that's what carried the kids in. It was a challenge from start to end. At the end, when we submitted the medical certificates, the head doctor of the airline said, sorry, we cannot board these people because they're too sick. What if something happens to them in the plane, right?
Yeah.
Because they were very, very sick. Imagine fate. These children traveled with a plane load of medical students who were already in their residencies. And the night before the flight, we had to reach out to these medical resident students who were Indian and said, look, you're going to be flying with these patients. Can you give us a guarantee that you will take care of these children while between Manila and Delhi? And it was so heartwarming. They all came back and said, we are practicing doctors as residents. We are a plane load of doctors. Don't worry. And they spoke to the head medical resident of the airline and assured the airline that they would take personal responsibility in taking care of these Filipino families. And it was, if you put all that together, it's just a story that this is how the universe just comes together and just makes things work. And
Yeah.
Kaizel and our other patient with us today were part of that group. And today, Kaizel and her kid is back. The other one is still in India, just waiting for a flight to come back. And they're all well, and their kids are well, and the kids have had a successful transplant. So it's really it's even for us who try our best just to connect people, it's very overwhelming.
It's so providential, and how you said the universe, I would say how the Almighty God made all things happen. Amazing, from the seed of faith of the parents to the people who made things happen for them. And how many how many percentage will you have, or will you get, to ride a plane, a chartered flight at that, full of medical practitioners?
Free of charge.
Free of charge. Amazing. The Lord is really amazing. We have to give him that. Talagang, wow, Lord, palakpakan. And what is really nice about this is that what you have, the partnerships of your advocacies, especially for the biliary atresia patients, for the pediatric, how do you call that again, Chairman?
It's the pediatric liver transplant program.
Oh, yes. So that's a pediatric liver transplant program. You're looking forward for a long-term solution. Now, is there any challenge for you to make the sustainability of this advocacy continue and happen, especially that it's a long-term? Maybe that would be my last question.
Yes, we desperately need the Philippine government through the Department of Health to really take over ownership of this problem. A lot of our babies are not well off. They cannot afford such surgeries. We need government to come in and help save these lives. We're very fortunate that Senator Bongo has helped. The Office of the President has helped. They have made it possible for the Philippine Children's Medical Center to sign an MOU with the medical city for the surgeries to happen. At the same time, Max and Makati Medical Center have signed an MOU for their partnerships. We're going to need more institutions to partner with each other. And most importantly, we're going to need the government and other groups to help fund these surgeries. We're very grateful to a foundation in Germany called the Build Foundation. They are the ones currently funding almost 75% of the total cost of the surgery. But clearly, from a sustainability point of view, they're helping many children around the world. And we in the Philippines are going to have to figure out how we're going to fund these transplants and save lives. And that's why we, as a chamber, are committed to continue working night and day, 24/7, to actually make this happen. I know you have not asked me this question, but I don't know if I will have the opportunity. So since I have the floor, I must say something to our audience. as business people, we may be micro, we may be small, we may be medium, we may be large, we may be extra large. But if you think about it, what is a phone call to us only is a lifesaver to another.
Yeah.
And all we need to do is to make that call. We don't even need to donate money. If we donate, that's even better. But
Yeah.
a lot of times, through our networks and through our friends, a phone call is sufficient to help another family get out of poverty. And as a chamber in 2016, we have made it our underlying goal to push for inclusive growth and poverty alleviation. Can you just imagine if every entrepreneur in the Philippines, whether you are a market vendor, a sari-sari vendor, or a tycoon that sits in Ayala, if each of us come together and help another family who is in poverty and help lift that family out of poverty, we would have eradicated poverty forever. And to me, that is what business is all about. Business, well, profit is of course fun. But we're not going to lie and be hypocrites that we don't want to earn. Of course, we want to earn. But can you imagine if we have the opportunity of earning and at the same time lifting people out of poverty? To me, our job and our role on this earth would have been fulfilled.
Well said. Talaga, kaya napapasaludo ako. Kasi every time you really speak your heart out, we can see goodness, kindness. And I have to agree with you, no? In this world that we are in, businessman should not just be looking at profit, but we should also be looking at the people and how we can contribute to the planet. That being said, I would like to thank you, Rex, for the time that you have given to be on my maiden show, our maiden show, and really share this beautiful, awesome, divine led, and life changing advocacies. No, especially the pediatric liver transplant program. It's so true that with power comes great responsibilities, and we have just seen that in what you have shared with us, and that thinking beyond yourself makes a lot of difference. Sabi mo nga, we may be phone call away.
Alam mo,
Wow. Amazing.
dagdag ko lang, di ba, a lot of us in business, di ba, we always say, how can I help? Di ba? How can I help? What wakes me up? What excites me? What inspires me? I assure you, figure out that one phone call or that one thing that you can do, and you will wake up in ways that you are all charged to go and do more, because that will inspire you. And it's not expensive. It can actually be done for free. You just need to know where to look.
Yeah, and sabi nga ng ating mentor Rolly, it's only in giving and in sharing that we experience sustainable happiness and as we grow together. Wow. So in the meantime, we will pause for a break and we shall hear the other side of the partnership when we return after this message from our program partners. Thanks, Rex.
Salamat.
There you go, we're back. Ayaw yata tayong ano,
Ayaw
mapunta sa
Maricel.
siguro marami ka pang i-share. Naku naman.
Mukhang
Pero,
talaga may problema yung internet kahit ako naglalag eh.
oo. And, well, this is gonna be our baptism of fire. But what is baptism of fire if we're going to listen to the beautiful, amazing stories that you have, second chances to life?
Alam mo talagang ano lang, talagang ang wish ko lang is our alliance, Arlene, is taken to the next level where we're able to really tap more people to come together
Correct.
and make things happen.
Yes. So at this time, I'd like to bring Rolly back in. Can I have Rolly back?
Okay,
So
I'm afraid because if once we are on screen, we cannot be out anymore.
you have to ensure you have eaten, you have
Okay,
drunk your
joke only to our tech and who's experiencing a lot of the internet challenges because sometimes if you push a button and it doesn't function, then the frame remains at still.
Yes, true, true. So
Okay,
marami pa daw kwento si Rex kasi. But at this time, we shall now hear more from the other side of the partnership. So
yes.
let's play the segment intro, please.
Okay, taking us out from the frame, please.
Great. There you go. And welcome back. I'll have to call Rolly. There you go,
Yeah.
Rolly. Can you
All
hear?
right. So yeah, I can hear you, and I apologize. No, I have to apologize to all our audience and our guests because of the technicalities. And but the show must go on, and let's just not play a video if there's no sound.
Yes, yes. So this would be your segment now, Roddy. So I
Yeah.
guess you have to take it away and zoom me
Okay.
out, please. You know.
Mm. All right. So I'll be introducing our guest now, and for this segment, I think we are introducing the doctors behind this advocacy of the Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce here in the Philippines. And before anything else, can we play the video? If yes, then I can get a cue from you. If not, I'll just introduce them this time. Okay, so there's no cue, so I'll introduce our visitors right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, so we have a very good guest right now. They are two world-renowned specialists, both in the medicine area of gastroenterology, one in the field of liver and biliary sciences, and the other is in the pediatric hepatology. For our first guest, I'd like to call on Dr. Subhash Gupta, the chairman of the VAC Center for Liver and Biliary Sciences. Dr.
Hi
Gupta,
there, Ollie.
hello.
Good morning.
So
Good
good
morning.
morning. Yes, and
And what a pleasure
okay.
to see you and connect
Oh.
once again with beautiful people in Philippines. I've visited there two, three times. We've always had a good time there.
Okay. My first. I'll first introduce. I don't know if I will interview you together with. So I'll first interview you. Okay, Dr.
Okay.
Gupta, and I like to know what is the greatest challenge that you had with this biliary operation with different children around the world.
It's a huge challenge.
Mm-hmm.
For example, to explain to you from a grown-up person, we
Mm-hmm.
have a single liver. And that liver, we have to take a bit out of it and
Mm-hmm.
ensure that it can fit into the small tummy of these
Mm-hmm.
babies who are, even for their age, they are very underdeveloped. And also, even if their weight may be a certain amount, most of it is fluid. So there's actually no cavity inside to fit this liver in. The blood vessels are very tiny. And also in biliary atresia, there's a big problem that the portal vein that is not developed, so you have to develop new techniques, particularly for these. In the older times, when we were students and we were training in this procedure, we were told that do not touch a child who's less than 10 kgs or less than 1 year of age because the operation is bound to fail. But thanks
Yeah.
to our own sort of long experience in this procedure, we are now able to do this operation in small baby, reduce, and we publish this technique in number of scientific journals, which we call the medial reduction, and we use the portal vein in such a manner that these are able to take out a bit from the mother or the father or another relative and be able to join it with under microscope all these small vessels. And interestingly, of the 50 or 51 transplants that we have done for Filipino children, I think the great majority are alive and doing well. So I'm quite
Mhm.
happy to say that it's been a great journey for us. We've learned as well. We learned how to interact with Philippines, and I've visited, I must say, your beautiful country a number of times, and always been overjoyed with the warmth of the people there.
Okay. I can relate to your experience because as a child, I was born as a 5 pounder baby. I was so small, and I had several sicknesses before, but not to the point of being operated. And I can understand
Okay.
that the cavity is not fully developed for our children, and especially the biliary system is not fully cannot fully be seen because they're so small.
Absolutely.
Yes. And what was the greatest uh I mean to say in what parts of the in what part or what are the members of the global world that you have been working on aside from the Philippines, aside of course from India and the
So
Philippines?
within India, of course, we get a lot of reference, but being a sort of in a unique position where we have talent, and we
Hmm.
also are able, it's relatively poor country, so therefore the costs of transplantations tends to be lowest as compared to anywhere in the world.
In
So
India.
combined with good results, low costs, and the fact that most Indians speak English, so it makes us an automatic sort of destination point for many countries in the world. We've successfully transplanted young children from the royal family in Oman, from Middle East, from our neighboring countries, Pakistan and Bangladesh, on whom actually we have a love and hate relationship all the time with Pakistan. But still, we have a very good standing. Our group has a very good standing in Pakistan. All the sort of erstwhile Russian Federation countries, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, African countries, and we've had a steady stream of people from all over the world who come to us for, I think, for three main reasons. One is that we are well known. Second, our costs are lower than anywhere in the world, because India is a very poor country, so you can the our salaries are, if you compare the salaries with the Western world, it's very little. We probably, one of our doctors probably not be earning more than $1,000 a month. uh,
Okay.
and the fact that the results are uh, pretty predictable. Liver transplant is technically difficult, but the long-term results are amazing. In fact, many of our patients have actually been off immunosuppression or on very little immunosuppression as time goes on.
Okay. Oh, yeah, at this point in time, I'd like to call on our other partner. I think he's a specialist in the pediatric hepatology, and he's also with the Max Super Specialty Hospital. I'd like to call now on Dr. Vikram Kumar.
Hello, and thank you for inviting me. And it's a pleasure being in the loop and in the team. And it's a great thing that we have this relationship. And I hope we carry on this good relationship ahead, and we are able to save many more lives.
Oh, okay. So for both of you, I'd like to ask you on your medical journey. So how did you get into this kind of a specialization and really putting much emphasis and focus on the pediatric surgery on your part and for the biliary atresia on the part of Dr. Subhash? I'll first call on Bikram.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to tell you that how my journey started. I was trained in All India Institute of Medical Sciences in New Delhi, which is the premier institute of India. And from there, basic training was in pediatrics. But there I saw a lot of cases of biliary atresia, liver disorders, which which stimulated me. That gave me an pick and I liked these cases too. I wanted to handle these cases, and that was the interesting point in that I wanted to go into this field. So I started doing gastroenterology in the AIMS, and I was there for almost like 10 years, and we saw a lot of patients of liver and gastro and biliary atresia and other liver problems. And but at AIMS we do not have liver transplant. But then I went to other hospital in Medanta. There's another hospital in Delhi where I got an experience of almost like 50, 60 liver transplants, pediatric liver transplants. And then on, I went on to other hospitals and carried my journey on. And recently I've joined in Max Hospital, and I've been fortunate to join Sir. And in the last 3-4 months that I've joined here, and it's been a wonderful experience seeing all these kids recovering, and they're doing so well. And I hope this journey continues like this.
We can feel also the grace here because you two have already really helped a lot of the Filipinos. In fact, I think later on we'll be interviewing one of the latest successful operation over a child of Miss Angeline, and for that we also say thank you for helping us not only on their family, but also I can say the whole of the Philippines, and then we'll continue working with it. My question is now, what is the essence of the Max Hospital right now? Is it really only for that kind of a specialty operation, or what are the other services of the Max Specialty Hospital? Who can answer this?
I will answer this question because I've been longer in Max than Dr.
Yes.
Vikram. I think Max is a philosophy of providing high-end care at a reasonable cost, not necessarily the cheapest in the country, but when you high-end cost, which requires sort of team. You need the best team, radiologists, gastroenterologists, interventional radiologists. They all come at a price. So a high-end care at a reasonable cost, and whoever comes to us, it's not for us to keep the trade secrets to ourselves. We have a very active training program in which we have observers and students from all over the country. And in fact, our center has been instrumental in helping many other centers to start in this country in liver transplantation, and not only within India but also abroad. And I am looking forward to the day when with Makati or another sort of designated center in Philippines where we can partner and transfer the technology, because we all humans, we have a finite lifespan, but the trade and the skill must go on forever, because humanity is there forever, whereas we individuals are only there for a short time.
Yeah, that's for the sustainability part, because primarily it will be better if the operation can be done or will be done here in the Philippines,
Yeah,
so that
yeah.
the other patients can really afford it. Okay,
No,
I
we
think
would be happy to partner with anybody who's willing to, and this will not be at any cost to them. It's not as if we'll be charging a training fees for them or anything, but they must be prepared to take the time out and
well,
stay in
good.
a foreign country.
Yeah, because yeah, Dr. Gupta, I think a lot of doctors are now watching, because in fact me, I just prompted a doctor now who's now taking care of my health because I want to do intermittent fasting. He's Dr. Iggy Agbayani from Manila Doctors, and being a UP graduate, wherein we represent the best school in the Philippines, the UP College of Manila, is also watching right now. Then they might be interested to partner with your hospital for the sustainability part of the transfer of the
Yeah,
technology.
absolutely.
Yeah, okay. We shall talk business, social business about that later on.
Got
My next question is, in terms of experience, in terms of the numbers, what is the success rate in operating those kind of cases? Is it 100% or is it a little less, or why? And I'd like to
Uh,
hear.
there are in liver transplantation. There are two successes. One is short-term success, and one is long-term success.
Okay.
By and large, the short-term success is pretty good nowadays, provided your patient is in a good condition and you've done the operation at the right time, and if the donor characteristics are satisfactory. However, long-term care, and that is something that we actually very proud of, because our coordinators will teach everyone at the time of discharge about the medication, what schedule to follow, and they are taught to fill in a flow chart, so that they send that flow chart to us and we keep a track of their progress. If we find things are not not okay, then they'll ask them to contact a physician, or seek out a physicians ourselves in the country, and tell them that please look at this person, look at this baby is not doing well. So our long term success, actually, for I was looking at the data right now, we I think transplanted 51 children from Philippines, and 45, I'm told, I may be wrong, but 45 I've been told by a coordinator are alive and doing well.
Okay.
So we lost only a few children, and most of them we lost them early on, because I mean, some of the stories that you'll hear from one of the patients, the condition that they were in at the time of operation, I think no other team in the world, and I repeat that, no other team in the world would actually have operated on such a team. But we have such a dynamic support from our intensivists, our anesthesia colleagues, from Dr. Vikram and his team, that we were able to take this challenge and brings make the operation success. So I think the way it is developed now, that if a child is operated at the right time with the right donor characteristics, then it's likely to be success. But when we do living donor liver transplantation, it brings another angle of safety, which is safety to the donors. And I must say that all our donors have been alive and well, and actually encourage other donors to come forward and donate, because as doctors we cannot ever say that operation is completely safe, but in fact the other donors have been our advocates, and they've been telling their whenever they come into touch with anyone else, that donor operation safe. So I think we have a lot to be sort of lot more to be done in making sure that the operation is done at the right time, so that many more lives can be saved.
Yeah, I do agree with that, and I would just like to add to this what Sir has said. Almost like what Sir has said is almost 90 to 95% success rate is there, and that's very true. And I would just like to add one more thing, that even the sickest of the sick, we have operated recently. We operated Ren, and the child was very very sick, was on ventilator, was not breathing well, had renal failure, had multiple organ failure, and still the team went ahead and transplanted. That would have not happened in any other center. Straight away, the refusal would have happened that such a sick child cannot be operated because of the condition of the child. But we went ahead and gave it a chance, and the child is now doing very well.
Mm. So it entails that there has to be an early engagement on how to cure and on the disease. So first of all, discovery, and so that the families will be able to know what to do and where to go to ask for help. And of course, the help will now come in, and then this program will be a big help to them. All right. So, in terms of sustainability, in terms of challenges, what is there any other research undertaking being now embraced by your hospital for the further advancement of the cure in biliary atresia?
So maybe Vikram can talk about the preventive part of, which is early detection
Yeah.
and doing a Kasai operation in time. So maybe perhaps when Vikram has finished speaking about that, I'll tell us what we are doing to make this operation safer and more predictable results.
Okay.
See, when we talk of diagnosing biliary atresia, it is most important is diagnosing it very early in life. The earliest that we can diagnose is maybe second, third week. But the best way to diagnose is, there is a stool chart, the stool color chart that, in many countries they follow, that on every visit of every child, a stool chart is given to the patients, and the color of the stool can be an indicator that there is biliary atresia or not. And with each follow up, if the parents come and tell us that this is the color, this is the color, so we can pick up early cases. And if the earlier we pick up, the more chances of a better recovery is there, because earlier we pick up the we can do the simpler operation, which is the Kasai procedure, in which we remove the defective part, that is the bile ducts that are kind of biliary tract that is not formed properly, and we directly join the liver with the intestines, and that is called the Kasai procedure. And sooner we do it, the success rate is better. So earlier, that means even if we do it in first 4 to 6 weeks, the results of doing a Kasai procedure are going to be better. And if we do not pick that up in early, at least 2 months of age, biliary atresia, then the likelihood of doing that procedure is not there. Then we need to go ahead and do the transplant. And the problem with biliary atresia is that it is not diagnosed early on when we can actually do the Kasai procedure. So we need to use this modality of stool chart color and
Okay.
screen the color of this stool in each and every child which is born in the country, and we can pick up children early. And also what happens is that usually newborns have jaundice, and those that jaundice is physiological jaundice, which is meant to correct automatically by maybe second week of life. But if it goes on and on and on, it's just progressing till 1 month, we should be on a vigilant side and not ignore that, and investigate. And we should be first up doing the ultrasound and ruling out whether the biliary atresia is not there or not. But so that's most important in preventing the complications of biliary atresia and early management and doing the
Yeah.
Kasai procedure. And so I would like Dr. Subhash Gupta's opinion on further.
Yes, Dr. Gupta.
Yeah, we have a lot more to achieve. I think for the time being, we have to assume that organ sources will only come from human beings. So we have been watching research elsewhere very closely and see whether there's going to be another source of organs such as xenotransplantation. But as of now, that is a no-no. So we're looking at what we do to expand the donor pool. We are looking at things called donation from after cardiac death, a donation from brain dead donors. So this is something that we are working very closely on. That now the current situation, most people die in hospitals now, and many of them are deaths from non-cancer events, and they can potentially all be organs. Organs are very precious, and there's no point taking them to heaven. There's a great use for them here. So those organs, we're looking at technologies. For example, one technology that we're looking at very closely is where we can put these people after they've died, after the heart has stopped beating. We put them on an ECMO machine, which is a extra corporeal oxygen membrane oxygenator. So that can keep the organs alive till we can we can put together a team to harvest these organs. That's something that we're looking at very closely. In the live donors, we've now moved on to doing laparoscopic retrieval, so that the mothers and the fathers and the other donors don't have a big scar after donation, and also it makes the operation very precise. We also, as Dr. Vikram said, we're doing a very strong awareness program in which the pediatricians are sensitized to the fact that they may be dealing with biliary atresia and they should send them to us for Kasai operations so that transplant is not needed. And in the surgical technique that we're looking at very closely nowadays is that a zero fault technique, so that it's a bloodless surgery, there's no blood loss at the surgery, and that there are no technical complications such as arterial thrombosis or venous thrombosis. So there are many areas on which we are working on, and hopefully things may be better. But the best thing, of course, would be that if biliary atresia were to happen, it was sorted out by a good Kasai operation rather than by a transplant.
All right. So, all in all, Capson, I think what we are recommending to our general audience is an earlier detection of the disease, especially for those people who are not so aware and they're not so educated in terms of learning how to detect this. No, first, if the symptoms can now be seen, uh, please see your doctor, and then please see the FICCI because they're willing to help and be a partner in the operation. And on the medical side also, the sooner of the operation can be done, the better, because it gives the chances of surviving higher for our patients out there. And the greatest challenge is really lies on the external environment wherein we're asking for more donors now, because there's a lot of people may be watching this video, and then that will, in that case, you can be of help, so that more lives, more children's lives will now be safer, and because the program is now in full bloom. And our doctors here are doing their capabilities more and more because they're now using technology on how to detect and make all those things, operation included, be more and most safe for all of us. Okay. Any last words for our general public audience online, Dr. Gupta and Dr. Kumar?
I think the word that I would like to say, that world is you should believe in medicine sans frontiers. We all human beings with similar sort of problems, and we must help each other. Treatment should not be restricted. If Philippines were going to treat somebody, we should be willingly embrace it, because world is really one big place nowadays. It's a global village rather than compartments.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gupta. And your last word, Dr. Kumar?
Yeah, I totally agree with what is said, and I would emphasize that what program this has been, and this has given whatever efforts has been made from your organization and Philippines. This has helped so many children, and I would want that this should go on, and in future, the long-term future, as Mr. Rex had said, the transplants happening in Philippines itself is the dream, and that I would hope that would come soon.
Okay. Also, thank you very much, Dr. Kumar. My last word for our audience, together with these doctors, because we make we gain satisfaction in material things, but we only attain sustainable happiness in sharing. And in sharing, that's the time that we grow. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Kumar and Dr. Gupta, and then hope you can stay with us until our last segment as we return back, because we like to show some advertising from our sponsors so that this program can continue. Thank you again.
Thank you.
We'll be back shortly. This is Two for the Road. Two for the Road. Only here on V81 Radio Worldwide.
Break.
Are you an online business owner? Do you worry about shipping your products on time? Is it a hassle to deliver to customers abroad? Shipping options can be expensive, limited, or unreliable. That's why you need a new way to transport your goods overseas. Introducing My Cartero, a new, convenient, and reliable way to deliver your products across the globe. With My Cartero, you can distribute merchandise internationally. Ship your packages to the regional hub in 24 hours. Deliver items as small as 50 grams. Ship based on your needs. And track your packages online. You can even learn about sending to other countries via free consultations. With My Cartero, you don't need to visit a post office or courier branch. Simply book online, wait for our rider, and ship your product. Now, you can boost your conversion, satisfy your customers, and grow your business with My Cartero.
Now back to Two for the Road. Two for the Road. Only here on V81 Radio Worldwide.
Okay,
Yes, and we are back.
we're back, but I'm not on this segment.
Kailangan dyan ka na. And we are now to hear from the beneficiaries of this impeccable partnership. I'd like to call on my co-anchor, Nino. May we have Nino back on? So parang nagkakaroon na yung problema si Nino. And you know, what we're going to have now is really, we'll have a talk, we'll have quick chit-chat with the beneficiaries, especially the moms, no? We'd like to see how this particular partnership in advocacy has indeed impacted their lives. So since Nino is not with us yet, I'd like to call back Rolly to be on the frame with me, please. There you go. Rolly, alam mo ba yung kwento ng mga nanay dito, nakakakurot ng puso. You know, I'm a mom, I'm a lola, and I'm a mom. So, when I was reading through their journey, na-feel ko talaga yung pinagdaanan nila as if I was the mom. If I were the mom, no? And iba yung klase. When you hear that your child is sick and would need a liver transplant, you will try to really move fast, pray a lot, go down to your knees. Diba?
That's a challenge, eh.
I'd like to show the photos of the beneficiaries of this particular partnership on the Pediatric Liver Transplant Project of FICI. If it's available already, Zeno would play it. Pero habang inaayos ni Zeno, kwentuhan na kita, Rolly. Si Mami Kaizel is actually a nurse. And when she learned about her baby needs to have a liver transplant, of course, that shattered their dreams and their happiness. And she did everything. So, para siyang nagdo-double job, no? Meron na siyang nursing, of course, the work. And then, nag-bake din siya ng mga banana cake, banana breads, so that it would help augment the finances and, you know, eventually start saving for the operation. She also sought the help of mga celebrities, but you know, it wasn't enough. It was only a time when she learned about this project that, you know, everything started to look brighter. Yon. Ang maganda dito, you know, after the transplant in India, sabi nga ni Chairman Rex kanina, they went to India at the height of the pandemic. During the time na, yun yung kasama niya yung mga medical practitioners ng mga Indians na nandito sa Philippines studying, and they were being sent back to India because of the pandemic, no? So mag-uwian sila, and it was a chartered flight. No, it was a chartered flight. So when they came back after the successful operation, since she's a nurse, lo and behold, there were 2 miracle babies on that plane back to Manila. Paano naging 2? Tanong mo, paano naging 2?
Paano naging 2?
Kasi isa lang yung inoperahan, di ba? During the flight back to Manila, malapit na sa Clark, isa sa passengers, manganganak na. And
Okay.
Kaizel, being the receiver of a miracle, helped create another miracle. Ang ganda, no?
Pinanak niya. Siya nagpaanak.
Nagpaanak siya sa aeroplano. So, to Miracle Baby, sabi mo nga, giving happiness is, ano yung sabi mo?
It's only ensuring that we get sustainable happiness. Because it's only in giving that we grow.
So, can we call in Mommy, Kaizen, and Angeline to be with us? Angeline is actually still in India right now. They are awaiting flight back to Manila, but it is already, it has been a successful operations. Can we show the photos, Zeno, please? Si Kaizel no longer here. Internet connectivity nga si Kaizel.
We are experiencing that. The whole, mula pa when we start the program. Okay.
Yeah, this is, he had a baby. Can we see the photo again? You can see, no, pag ganyan ng baby, nakakaawa talaga. And it breaks my heart. Babies are beautiful. Babies are angels. And for a parent to see that they can't do anything about their child, it's heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking. So, ayan, nag-progress. But the good news is, Angeline, are you there? Would you like to share with us your story? Ayan. See, so before and after, ang laki ng bago. Sabi nga nila Dr. Gupta kanina, no? After the liver transplant, immediately pag maganda at match, nawawala agad yung jaundice. Angeline, hello from India.
Hello. I-unmute mo.
Mute ka.
Okay. Yes, good. Now, is it okay?
Yes.
Can you greet
Okay
our
na po
audience?
ba?
Greet
Hello
mo ang
po.
audience.
Good afternoon po sa lahat. Ma'am Orlene, good afternoon. Sir Rolly, good afternoon po.
Okay.
So ako may question. So alam ko when you found out about your baby, it was na naiiyak ako pag naalala ko yung kwento mo na parang ang hirap, di ba? Can you share with us what short journey you had?
Hello po.
Meron ka bang dyan, video? Are you watching us?
Yes po. Yan po, okay na po.
Okay.
Sorry again, Ma'am Orlene.
Nag-i-echo yung...
Nag-i-echo.
Stop mo yan.
Nag-i-echo dun sa part ni Angeline.
Stop mo po.
Ayan. So,
okay na po ba?
Okay na.
Kung dalawang device mo, shout out
Opo.
yung isa.
Mute mo lang yung isa. Ang question namin, can you give us a little kwento of your journey when you found out about your child and ano yung ginawa mo until you found out about FISHI, the Pediatric Liver Transplant Project?
Thank you, Miss Erlene. Nung kwan po siya, it was like late 2 months old po si baby nung malaman namin nung may biliary po siya. Based po dun sa mga laboratory result niya, like yun po yung pinakamasakit na part kasi nga po, hindi po namin talaga ina-expect. As first-time parents po, sobrang sakit po. Ang hirap po siyang i-digest. So, parang nagkuhan pa po kami. 2 months po siya namin nalaman na may biliary siya, possible na may biliary siya. Pero yung hirap po ng namin na hindi namin matanggap as mama nga po, hindi ko po siya agad na matanggap. So parang it takes a month po para po makuha namin na oh my God, iba pala yung sakit ng anak ko. Hindi siya yung ordinaryong sakit lang na nagagamot lang ng medisina. You know, yung ganun po. Tapos nung nakana namin na kailangan na talagang i-liver transplant, ganito yung magiging magiging mangyayari ng anak namin pag hindi siya na liver transplant. So, right after din po, yun po yung time na naghanap po kami ng way, nagkuhan po kami ng mga t-shirt po for a cause para lang po makuha namin yung funds. And then, through Ma'am Jen po, Ma'am Jen Resurrection, siya po yung baliway po kung bakit po nakilala namin yung FICCI po. Kasi sila po yung tumulong sa amin. Gawa nga po nung pandemic, 'di ba, sobrang hirap. So, sila po yung tumulong sa amin through Sir Rex po, yung president po ng FICCI, nakapunta po kami ng India. Andito po kami ngayon para po mapagamot si baby. So, sobrang blessed po namin kasi dream lang namin po yun. Tapos biglang, oh my God, nandito po kami ngayon sa India. Tapos knowing po na sobrang, alam po namin kasi sobrang sick na po ni baby. Makikita nyo naman po dun sa pictures na sobrang laki na po ng tiyan niya. Nahihirapan na po siyang, ito po yun, nahihirapan na po siyang huminga. So, alam mo yung sobrang sakit, nung gusto mong kunin na lang yung lahat ng sakit, no? Pero kailangan po niyang pagdaanan yon. Yun po yung nagiging pa namin. Tapos, nung nagpunta na po kami dito, naging bali urgent po yung sabi ng mga doktor na kailangan na sa lahat po ng babies na andito sa Max, si Ren po yung talagang urgent po at kailangan na po talaga niyang i-surgery po. So parang aware po kami, sinabihan po kami ng mga doktor na ito yung possible na mangyayari, pero nagkukuhan pa din po kami doon sa faith namin na andito na kami, kailangan naming magtiwala sa mga doktor kasi sila yung mas nakakaalam, and above all, yung si God po, kasi siya po yung talagang magbibigay ng guidance doon sa mga doktor. Siya po yung magbibigay ng panibagong buhay ni Ren. Like to extend her life, no? Kasi only child po namin si Ren. Sobrang fan po namin, mahal na mahal po namin yung anak namin. Kaya nung like August 31 po, nangyari po yung big day ni Ren. It was August 31 na surgery siya. And then, sobrang hirap po after ng surgery kasi yung recovery period niya, sobrang hirap kasi nga po, naka-ventilator niya siya. Tapos, twice siyang nilagay sa ventilator. Tapos, after nun, tinatry nilang i-went off siya doon, pero hindi po nakaya ni Ren. Gawa no po nung nag-fail na din po yung organ niya, like hindi na po siya nakakapag-ihi ng, wala po siyang urine output. At yun po, kailangan niya po, parang 2 days after ng surgery, kinailangan niya pong ilagay sa dialysis. So, parang 1 week siyang nag-dialysis, wala po yung tigil. So, kung makikita niyo po dun sa picture, sobrang dami ng nakakabit sa kanya. Lahat, like, in-inform po kami ng doktor na yon na lahat po naka-maximum dose po si Ren, no? As pharmacist po kasi ako, Ma'am Arlene. So, parang in-inform po ako nung mga doktor na like lahat po ng mga vaso na gamot na para sa kay Ren, parang naka-maximum po kasi lahat ng sa heartbeat niya, dun po sa yung sa BP niya, parang to support lang po. Opo, sobrang takot na takot ako kasi lahat nga po is naka-maximum dose po siya. Tapos lahat ng life support, andun po, ventilator, nagda-dialysis po yung anak ko. Sobrang hirap po yung sakit na nararamdaman ko nung time na yon. Tapos hindi ko siya kailangang sabihin sa asawa ko kasi nga sabi doon ng doktor ko, wag mo munang sabihin sa asawa mo na ito yung nangyayari sa baby nyo. Kasi kaka-surgery lang din niya, unti-untiin lang, mo muna siya, yung parang sabihin mo lang na okay yung baby, para at least magkaroon din siya ng recovery period na sarili niya. Tapos, nung time na yon, hindi po pwedeng pumasok yung parents ng after surgery for 2 days. Pero ako po, tinawag po ako nung doktor at sinabi po, you can go like every 2 hours or 1 hours, sabihan mo, kausapin mo yung anak mo, para lang po mag-ingay or something, i-kwan mo siya, cheer up mo siya, ganito, ganyan. Napakahirap po ng naging buhay, naging yung recovery ni Ren kasi ang dami pong nangyayari. Tapos almost 2 months po kami. Then after nun po, na parang like October 25, yun po yung time na na-discharge kami. Tas sobrang thankful po namin at sobrang happy po nun. Kasi it's like, no,
I-segment natin ang kwento mo para maka-learn ng lesson at insight ang ating mga audience, no? Nung nalaman mo yung sakit ng bata, siyempre ang natural, Pilipino tayo, no? Lito. Hindi alam
yes
kung saan
po.
gagawin, saan pupunta, anong gagawin. Ano ngayon ang masasabi mo sa kanila? Na pag nagkaroon ng sakit, ano ang dapat nilang gawin? Natuklasan nila.
Opo, yun po, ayun. Kailangan po pag may mga ganon, pag may parang nakukan kayo sa anak nyo na parang hindi siya normal, kailangan po punta po agad kayo sa doktor. Tas,
Doktor.
pagawa nyo po lahat ng kailangan gawin para po, kasi mas earlier kasi, ang sakit na to po kasi, kung the earlier po siya na-detect, mas maganda po kasi nga, mas yung rate po ng, yung survivor rate po nun, mas okay po.
Okay.
Opo.
Okay, pangalawa naman, nung natuklasan mo, and then ngayon ganyan na yung learning, kanino ka dapat pumunta? Kanino sila dapat pumunta? Lalo, ganitong eksaktong sakit ang meron sila.
Sa doktor po, kailangan po nilang...
Sa doktor at para humingi ng programa sa...
Yes po. Sa FICCI po, sila po yung isa sa mga taong po na pwede pong tumulong po sa ganitong pong case kasi nga po, sobrang napakabuti. Habang buhay po namin tatanawin ng utang na loob po yung buhay ng anak namin ngayon. Kasi nga po, di ba, nagkaroon ng pandemic. So, sobrang parang hindi mo lubos maisip na makakaalis kami kasi nga po walang flight. Pero dahil po dun sa tulong ng FICCI, kay Sir Rex po, at sa lahat po ng team niya, naging possible po yung inaakala naming hindi po mangyayari. Yun po yun. Thank you po.
Ayan, narinig natin general online public, no? At isa pa, pag naman sa recovery stage, anong dapat nilang gawin? Di ba? Siyempre, bilang ina, alam natin na yung bata, ano yan, may recovery kasi, siyempre, no, may effect yung anesthesia, naghihilo yung mga system niya. Ano naman ang dapat mong gawin? Dapat gawin ng mga taong magkakaroon ng ganyang situation. Yes, Angeline?
Sa recovery period po nila, like po, full support po as parents, kailangan po andun po kayo. Lagi
kasi
niyo
magre-respond ang bata.
Yes po, dapat andun po kayo. Lagi niyo po siya, kung tulog man po siya, or kasi nakasedate po sila usually.
Like i-touch.
Opo. I-touch niyo lang po sila. Yung mafe-feel nila po yung opo. Kasi po nakikinig po sila, nararamdaman po nila yung pagmamahal po ng mga magulang. No, yun yung pinaka factor po doon. Kasi po yung manners andyan naman sila, yung mga doktor ginagawa nila lahat. Pero as parents po, yun po yung kailangan po nating laging gawin at hindi mawawala po.
At huwag maghisteria at huwag ipalaganap ang takot, lalo sa pamilya.
Opo. Yun po yung...
Kasi, kailangan pagdamay ang gagawin kaysa yun. Di ba, alam mo naman ang Pinoy may nahimatay, merong iiyak, and then sabay-sabay. Kaya, ang focus instead na sa bata, mapupunta dun sa pamilya. Yun ang iiwasan natin.
Yes po.
Alam natin masakit. And then, siyempre, pag nandyan ang ating mga doktor, like Dr. Gupta and Dr. Kumar, lalo lalakas ang ating pag-asa kasi they're now really helping us a lot to the max.
Yes po, totoo po yan. Lalo na po pag nadidinig ko yung boses ni Doc Gupta, talagang good morning, house Ren, yung parang ganun, para po akong nabubuhay na, yung parang
buhay na buhay ang boses ni Dr.
buhay na buhay, kasi yung every morning po yan, sila nagra-rounds, lahat po ng team niya, kasama si Doc Vikram, yung parang like, how's Ren? How are you? Yung parang ganun. Yung parang nalilift up ka. Yung parang nagkakaroon ng good vibes. Yung good spirit po andun. Kasi po andun, nandito na si Doc. So, magiging okay lahat. Tapos, kakausapin mo din si Doc Vikram. Kasi, andun lahat ng pwede mong like, may mga doubts ka, mga tanong ka na kailangan ng mga kasagutan, andun po sila, handa po silang mag-explain. So, wala pong magiging problem. Sobrang napakabuti po ng mga doktor sa Max, lalo na po yan sila at mga nurses nila.
Bigyan naman natin ng microphone kay Arlene. Arlene, ikaw naman bilang ina, tanungin mo siya. Di
Hindi
ba?
na ako makapagsalita, naiiyak na ako.
Ako rin nga. Hawak ako na
Mami.
dibdib ko kasi.
Sabog na sabog yung dibdib ko, lalo na nung before. So I can really feel what Rex felt when he saw the first patient that we have helped.
Yeah.
So that actually paved the way for Rex and CC, the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce.
Mag-special shout out now. I'd like to special shout out for my good friend, my former boss Manish, who's now in the board of FICCI, and thank you also for helping a lot of us Filipinos.
So I'd like to call back with us, no? Kasi yung si Nino, I think, had a difficulty coming back because of the internet connectivity. I'd like to call back our guest, Chairman Rex, Dr. Subhash Gupta, and Dr. Vikram Kumar.
Okay.
So, ayan, Rex.
Okay. We have to talk in Filipino during the time of Angeline, di ba?
Oo, feel na feel ko, Rex, yung naramdaman mo when I saw the photo of baby Ren. Maiiyak na ako kaya hindi na ako makapagsalita. And, nako, ito na na-emote na ako. Ikaw na.
Okay. So, thank you very much. I think we had a full featuring of from the proponent of the program to the hands-on operators and then to the beneficiary for today. Although
let Angeline show us her baby. We want to see her baby.
No, come.
Oo nga, pakita mo nga, yeah.
Let's see the
She's
child.
here po. She's here po. She's waiting po. Oh,
Hi!
sorry. Hi! Say hi. Hi!
Look at the transformation.
Hi! Say my baby now.
That is 3 months after the operation, no? September, October, November.
Yes po. 3 months po.
Okay.
Kaya po
Now,
habang buhay po
healthy
kami
human being.
magti-thank you po sa inyo po, Sir Rex. Napakabuti nyo po. Ang dami nyo pong natulungan. Isa po si Rendon.
Basta makita mo lang sila. Yan na yung aming
matutuwa na, no?
Yan na yung aming opisina.
Yeah.
Opo, tignan nyo naman.
Ako magde-thank you kay Rex because I like to thank Rex and the members, board and members of the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce in the Philippines for investing in life.
Yeah.
Investing in life here is investing in heaven. Naiiyak ako talaga. Naku, ano ba?
And siyempre ako, kaya Angeline, siyempre, nagawa ka ng kabutihan ng FICCI, ibigay mo sa iba. Kumbaga, ang mga paikot-ikot papunta sa hinaharap.
Pero I must state, this is not just us. There are a lot of different people that are making this possible. We are only as enablers. As I said earlier, that one phone call means a lot. In the case of kids, when they went, it was multiple phone calls, but they were phone calls, and it mattered. It really mattered.
But because of your endeavor, it reminds me that the world is one big place to be happy. Kasi it's only it's only in being together that we can get sustainable happiness.
Correct. So let's get a few last words from Rex.
Yeah.
Medyo overjoyed in awe of all the things. You can see how God works in mysterious ways. He is faithful. So Rex, ikaw muna. Ang dami ko nang sinabi. Ikaw muna.
First, I think it's time to be grateful to the Almighty for making this all possible. And when I say the universe just works in sync, that's God's hand making it happen. So we really must be grateful to them. We're very grateful to all the donors, all the foundations that pay for these surgeries. We're grateful to the Philippine government who has taken our plea and our request seriously and currently working on improving the situation of biliary atresia in the Philippines. It is still a long journey, but the journey has begun. We're very grateful to our dear doctors in India who have treated our children like their own. And I have witnessed this during my visit. They have really treated the kids like their own. So to everybody, the board of directors, the members of the chamber who continue to inspire us to work, our deepest gratitude.
Yeah. Thank you,
Thank
Rex.
you.
And siyempre, shout out kay Manisha. I've been seeing him for 26 years. Hello, he's watching. I saw his comment. And the last word also from Angeline.
Uh, Thank you po. Yun po. Thank you po so much po. Habang buhay po kaming magti-thank you sa inyo, Sir Rex. At sa lahat po ng bumubuo po ng organization nyo po. Yung advocacy nyo po. Sobrang nai-inspired po din kami kasi nga po, sobrang dami nyo pong natulungan. Nabuhay po yung mga anak namin, nagkaroon po sila ng chance po na, at nagkaroon din po kami ng chance na makasama po sila. Yung buhay na ginugusto namin para sa kanila, magiging possible po nang dahil po sa tulong nyo. At sa lahat po ng mga doctors po, dito po sa Max, thank you po so much po. Kasi po, sila po yung naging daan po. Kung ngayon sa blessing po na ini-enjoy po naming mag-asawa. Kasi nag-iisang anak namin si Ren. Yun po. Tapos po, yung sa lahat po ng mga mommies, iti-take ko na lang din po na opportunity po ito para sabihin yung mga parents, like po dun sa Pinas, lalo na po dyan, na please po, gawin nyo po.
Ako, we lost it.
Okay. Nako, talagang, Rex, this episode ought to be edited and then we will upload it again. We're very sorry, because I would like to take this opportunity to apologize because of the internet. And then from our guest to our tech, and then what we can do is just edit it and then upload it again.
Complete. So, while wala na si Angeline,
nawawala yung mga kasama natin, tayong tatlo ang matatag na natitira.
Pati ba si Doc na wala rin?
Wala na rin.
So, anong key takeaway mo, Rolly, dito sa ating segment today?
Well, ang key takeaway, all of us people have to invest in time, wealth, and health. And during the twilight zone of our lives, health is really now about to be attained and to be desired because nawawala na siya. And at this point in time, we need all to be together to grant this to us by the Lord, together with the beautiful people around, like FICCI and Rex and the other board members. To you, we salute you and our support is on you.
Salamat po. Thank you.
Yes. And for me, my key takeaway for this episode is simply put as this. There would be challenges in life, but we should never give up. We continue to pray and hold on and let our faith be stronger because He is faithful. He is a promise keeper. He is a provider. He is a deliverer. And above all, He is a healer. The Almighty God is a healer. He sends angels like Chairman Rex, the FICI board, and members, and yung mga German companies and foundations that helps. You just don't know which and who angel He would send to make your prayers come to life. So, hang on there and keep on praying. And for our extra,
okay, as they say things happen on a tipping mode, but parties will have a deciding moment on who to partner with. This time, partner with FICCI basta about gastroenterology. And syempre, partnership will always bring new dimensions to our businesses. Like ngayon, we will be partnering with FICCI because we'll be supporting them. And so we can prepare the organization to the next level.
Thank you.
And business challenges will be met easily with success if we, all together now, Rex.
Two.
Being two.
For the road.
Two. For the road.
For the road.
there. Thank you so much.
The program that is a call for the times during this 21st century pandemic, seeing breakthrough beyond horizons. This is Two for the Road. Challenges are usually solved and stepped up to as partners know the worth and value of being two for the road. Join the Global Business and Transformation Mentor Rolly Pagaspas and Global Logistics Leader Arlene Padua Martinez as they discuss collaborations in the program that pivots on partnerships. This is Two for the Road, only here on V81 Radio Worldwide.
Ay,
Okay.
Rex, thank you talaga. So